Hello, hello. So today I am actually in my studio for a photo shoot, and I thought, what better time to come in and give you guys a little bit of like a sneak peek and some tips and tricks for when you might be planning your next branding photo shoot. So let's kind of dive into the juice about 10 different ways that you can create a wildly successful branding photo shoot. Okay, guys, tip number one, get incredibly clear about your brand and your audience. Technically, that should probably be two different steps, but I'm going to put it together because really the ideology here is to clarify. Okay. Branding photo shoots are not just a place to kind of put some cute clothes on, show up, and have your picture taken. You need to be wildly clear on who it is that you are and who it is that you are trying to reach. Step number two, and this is a big one. I run into this problem with a lot of my clients all the time. So, this is a huge one. So, listen up. Make sure that you have a clear purpose to your photo shoot. Make sure you understand what it is that you are getting imagery for. Okay. Now, because I am a web designer and I do social media work and I do a lot of these things, like I have a much wider vision of these photo shoots. And I can tell you firsthand that my clients are wildly successful with their photos because we educate them on how to use them. Okay. When people come in to my studio here for a shoot, they have a questionnaire that they have to fill out first. This questionnaire includes, where are these images going to be used? Are they going to be on your website? Are they going to be on social media? Are they going to be up on a billboard? These things are all incredibly important to know before your shoot because your photographer needs to be able to plan ahead. If I just kind of wing this shoot and what you really needed from your shoot was a hero image, which would be a very wildly cinematic style, but all I did was take close-ups of you, you are not going to have content for that. Okay. So step number two again is get wildly clear on what the purpose of your photo shoot is. Now, also make sure that it is purposeful from the energy that you're giving off, the outfits that you're giving off. Obviously, if you want to do holiday content, bring some holiday props, wear some holiday outfits, but just please make sure that you make a list of the reasons that you are doing a photo shoot. No, not everybody needs a branding shoot. Yes, you heard that right. Okay. Not everybody needs one. Not everybody is ready for one. To be quite honest, I get a handful of people who do come to me to do a photo shoot, and with doing the form that they have to fill out, realize that they are not ready. But guess what? That form educated them on what they should be doing before they book a shoot, and more than likely, these people come back 2 or 3 months later when they feel ready. Now, when you're feeling ready, this leads into tip number three. Make a list, a physical list. It can be digital, but I highly suggest printing it or at least sharing it with your photographer. Okay. Make a list, it's very, very specific list of how you plan to use them. Now, the reason I say this is because as the photographer, I want to make sure that I am going through check by check to make sure that we have at least a handful of images that will work in those scenarios. Just to give you some ideas here, these things can include your website, social media, Instagram stories, email newsletters. Maybe it's decor for a brick and mortar space. Maybe it's for a lookbook or a catalog. Maybe it's for advertisements. Maybe it's for print. Maybe it's for billboard. Make a specific list. Make the list, print the list, share the list with your photographer. I promise you, this step is so huge. Now, moving on to tip number four is going to be creating a mood board or inspiration board. Guys, I am never asking my clients for a Pinterest board to be able to copy everything that they're putting on there. Okay. So I kind of want to clarify that so that you guys have a better understanding of why photographers ask for a mood board. Now, from my perspective, what I'm looking for in a mood board is posing types, not specific posing, but just kind of posing types, as well as images that are, very wide and you're really small, or is it really close up? Is it high fashion? Is it super cozy? What kind of lighting is being posted in that? Is it a lot of natural light? Is it a lot of really harsh, kind of studio lighting, editorial lighting? I'm looking for the small details because the small details are all the puzzle pieces that make you. Okay. So between the Pinterest board and the questionnaire that I have you fill out, this is literally just a kind of like appetizer for the creative brain to really just start to kind of piece things together based on what all of those details say about you. Tip number 5, ask your photographer for their recommendations of locations. Not every photographer has a studio. I do. I happen to have one, but not every photographer does. Photographers are fantastic people to ask for venue types and vetting locations that are to your brand. Now, a photographer is not going to be able to help you pick a location if you haven't done all the steps before this. Okay. If you do not have a clear identity, a clear purpose, and a clear audience, your photographer is likely not going to be able to truly strategically help you pick a location. So make sure before you get to tip number 5 that you are doing tips 1 through 4 first. I, for one, have tons of locations that I love to shoot at that are outside of my studio. So even if your photographer does have a studio, but you don't feel like it maybe goes with your brand or doesn't like mesh with your vibe, just ask them. I love shooting in my studio, but I also love shooting on location. And let me tell you guys, there are tons of spaces available. Moving on to tip number 6, choosing outfits. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and drop a lead magnet that I have here actually, that is to how to help you choose your outfits, right? How to pick the perfect outfits. I'm gonna leave that link down below for you guys, but I'm just going to say this right now. The number one thing I tell all of my clients that come in for a branding photo shoot, when in doubt, haul it out. I would rather you bring 10 different outfits or 10 different like things, shoes, blazers, whatever. And I would rather help if you are not sure, right? If you are not completely sure about the looks, I love to help you put them together. So rule number 1 in this tip is when in doubt, haul it out. Okay. I usually tell my clients if you are not showing up with a suitcase, I am a little worried. Okay. So make sure that you are doing the work. Now, when you are preparing, when you are choosing your outfits, just a couple things for you to think about. Make sure that they are on brand. Make sure that they truly go along with your aesthetic. Now, obviously, I have a very bright and wild personality, so you don't see me wearing super neutral colors all the time. You pretty much always see me wearing hot pink, leopard, or citron yellow. Like you, I know that. I know that those are colors that I want to wear for my photos. Um, Also, make sure that you are not choosing anything overly baggy. Now, woman to woman, like I feel you, girl. Okay. My midsection is not my favorite. My butt, my legs, not my favorite. But trust me when I tell you that better fitted clothing is much, 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 much more flattering. Okay. Leave the posing up to us. But it's a lot harder to do the posing with super baggy clothes. So get something that fits. Don't get something that's like super crazy baggy. Even if you are doing a more cozy vibe, sweaters are totally fine. Just make sure it's the right size. Make sure you're not swimming in it. Okay. All right. Tip number 7, hair and makeup. Now, there are multiple ways that you can approach this, but I highly suggest looking into a professional hair and makeup artist just to kind of get you looking perfect. Okay. Now, I have a fantastic recommendation for you. So, if that is something that you are interested, just hit me up. I will let you know. My glam team has been working alongside of me for over a decade. And let me tell you that I trust them with my life. I trust them with everything. They are so freaking good. And not only that, but they are so experienced with doing hair and makeup for camera. Okay. Getting your hair and makeup professionally done just in general and getting your professional hair and makeup done for film or camera are two very different things. So I love to offer my referral to you if that's something that you're interested in. If you feel like you're going to be stressed out, you're going to be overwhelmed, you're going to forget things, bring someone along. You can either hire a stylist to come with you or you can bring a friend um, who can just kind of help you throughout the day if you feel like you need it. All right, moving on to tip number 8, props, stuff, right? Now, let me preface by saying details are everything. Okay. When you are doing a brand photo shoot, you really want to be able to tell a story. Now, details are what tell a story, not a blank page, right? So you want to start to like make a list of props that are good for you as your personality as well as for your audience. So this is kind of where we blend together who you are as a person, who your brand is, and who your audience is. Now, these should all be pretty similar at this point. But when in doubt, haul it out to an extent. So I know I mentioned the haul it out for your clothing. I think clothing is a much different category than props are for bringing more than you need. However, I always tell you to just bring a bunch of stuff and we will figure it out when we get here. We will figure it out. What makes sense, what feels right, and we'll kind of go from there. Now, I am someone since the branding questionnaire that people have to fill out before their shoot includes asking them for things like their brand guidelines, questions specifically about who their audience is, what they sell, where they're showing up, all these things. And dependent on some of the answers, I actually bring a whole slew of things from my house. Because let's be real, a lot of my clients are coming in for similar things to me. They're kind of like me. So I actually bring in some things from home for people that like might want something additional. This could be books, this could be a little sign, it could be an array of things. But make sure that you are bringing enough details that tell a story, not just a laptop, not just a phone, not just a water bottle that's in your brand colors, okay? I'm talking details. I'm talking like your disco balls. I'm talking your photos of your family, your dog. I'm talking like specific pens and notebooks that you use. I'm talking like post-its in the colors of your brand. I'm talking like anything that represents you as a person or what you do on the day to day. Bring it. All right. Tip number 9 kind of goes back to what we talked about before, but I want you to think about making a detailed shot list. Okay. Now, this is something that as a photographer, I actually do this for my clients, but I know that a lot of photographers don't. So I want to give you this tip ahead of your shoot so that you can make sure that you and your photographer are on the same page about what it is that you are hoping to take away, right? Communication is the only way that you are going to ensure that what you're investing in is going to be, what you are expecting on the way out. So the more you communicate, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. That makes the most sense. Okay. So the detailed shot list is not going to be the list of places that you're using it. The detailed shot list is a little bit more of like, I need a photograph of me holding my skincare product. I need a photograph of me typing on my computer for my contact page. I need a close headshot but far enough that will fit in a circle. Okay. This is your chance to really get detailed with the specific items that you need. Another thing that I personally love to know ahead of time is what images are going to get cut out. Yes, I know that plenty of people are using Canva and removing the backgrounds and making whatever. And you know what? That is totally fine. But that tool, even in Photoshop, only works to the best of its ability. And I, as a photographer, know how to makeshift things, places, and lighting to put you that make those cutouts smooth as a baby's butt. Okay. So if you are doing imagery that you are going to be like removing the background and putting it with someone else, something else, let your photographer know that so that they can make accommodations. I just trust me. On the flip side, you will be so grateful that I told you that. All right, last tip, tip number 10, make a timeline. Now, again, I do this for my clients. I build most of this on my back end, but I do know that a lot of photographers don't. So, even if they don't offer it, I would still suggest asking because I feel like a lot of photographers are more than welcome to do that. They're trying to make things easier for you and not feel overwhelming. I, on the other hand, don't mind making you feel overwhelmed because I know that the product that I'm giving you is going to be wildly successful because we were so clear from the get-go of what we wanted, what we needed to do, and how we're going to get to that end result. So, trust me when I tell you, you can absolutely try to build your own timeline. However, I highly suggest that you do it with your photographer because most people do not understand the back end of photo or video and truly understand how long things take. Things like outfit changes, you've got to realize that you've got to give yourself about 10 minutes for that because every time that you leave the room, like you're kind of wasting time. So I usually tell people too, make sure that your timeline allows for either multiple locations or multiple outfits or, just like multiple set changes because we do truly move furniture all the time to do totally different looks, but you have to know that and you have to be ready for that. Because one of the biggest questions I get from people is, how much time do I need? And I think people are surprised a lot of times when I tell them. Usually, I suggest about 2 hours, especially if minimum. Especially if you are doing video as well, because things just take time. You do things more than once. We're moving furniture. There's a lot of moving parts that I think most people don't really realize. So tip number 10, make sure that you kind of try to time out your time with your photographer, share it with your photographer, discuss it, be highly communicative of it so that you guys are on the same page before shoot day. All right, so I hope you enjoyed those 10 quick tips on how to make the absolute best of a branding photo shoot. If you have any additional questions, please drop them in the comments below. I would love to connect with you to make sure that your next brand photo shoot is like so kick ass that you're making millions.